So this is our wintertime routine that we do with does when they're impregnated. Everybody's bred now. We're middle of the season, so we always do four things at this time. So number one, we're going to draw blood. We're going to trim hooves is number two. Number three, we're going to give the multi-min shot, and then we're going to inspect the doe just for condition. Now this doe's hair quality is really solid. She's nice and soft. She's got a long coat. She's a little muddy because it's muddy outside right now, but in general, her condition's great. So I'm happy with how she looks in terms of her general health. So let's move on to trim and hooves. So trim and hooves, again, I always capture the leg here. I got a bad lower back. This helps me, especially when I'm trimming a lot of hooves. Now I have the animal captured. So I'm just gonna go in and I always start on the toe first. When you look down on the hoof, here's the hairline right here. I want that hoof line to match similarly to this hairline. And you can pull the hairline back if it's muddy like that, but you can see that's the hairline. She has a little bit more point because that hairline is laying like this. And that's how a goat's hoof is naturally. They always have a little bit more of a point. I'm seeing people try to take this completely flat, and I just don't think that's natural wear for them. So I am going to take a little bit more off her. So we're going to go down just a little bit lower. And once I establish the front side of the hoof, then I'm ready to work that hoof back. And remember, this time of year, go ahead and go over to that side, honey. This time of year, your major concern is this poop that likes to go down and stuff in the side of these cracks, and it slowly separates the hoof wall away from the edge of the sole of the hoof. The other spot that you're going to be mindful during the winter is the insides. So they'll get their highest propensity towards hoof rot will be on the inside. So these are very important to take these edges down to bare hoof, where the hoof wall and the edge of the hoof meet together evenly and there's no gap between them, because it's that gap and then walking through that muddy earth that shoves that poop up in there. So you can see this is a clean joint now between the sole and the hoof wall. So now once I've established that, I'm just going to go ahead and take the hoof flat, take off any insides, inspect in here, make sure there's no hoof rot in there, which I don't see any. And again, don't overthink hooves. I used to in the beginning. Just get them good. They wear them naturally themselves. So we're going to do one more on a back hoof. I'm going to give you another example. Yeah, Harry wants more grain. Okay, so I'm going to clean this out, kind of look at it again. I'm going to start with the toe. So I'm going to take off that front, work it back. These little extra nodules, you can take those off as well. It doesn't let them stand naturally. So now I'm looking to see if my hoof wall, I have the joint overtaken, and I'm also going to see if my toes. Now this is a good example, Tricia, where it looked like it was right, but once you start looking at the hairline, you realize how much toe is on this. There's the hairline, there's the toe. So that's too much toe. So we're going to take the toe, see how I successfully took quite a bit off of that without bleeding, without going too deep, all that stuff, because I was able to kind of look at it from the side and go, okay, there's too much toe there. I need to take some more off. So now we're almost point just like we want to be. Slight slope to the hoof. I could even take a little more off the toe, but I can tell I'm starting to get dark right here, and that is blood just underneath that. So if I went much deeper there, I'd make her bleed. So we'll do the back, the other side. Now we're down to good hoof wall. Points, they're matched, everybody's looking good. We're starting to look pink on the end, so I don't want to go any deeper. Look at the inside, look at the inside. Make sure those hoof walls are looking good. And that's a finished hoof for me. You know, look like a deer hoof. She still kind of has malformation on this side, but no big deal. It's a good functioning doe, and she's not going to have problems with her hoofs. So I do see people overthink hooves. Don't overthink them. Get them flat, get them close, get on to the next one. When you have performing pack goats on the trail, yes, hoof maintenance is more important, especially in the off season, especially this time of year, so they're not getting hoof rot. But even then, they're going to naturally wear their hooves on the trail in a way that's conducive to them. You just need to keep their hooves in shape in the off season. So I hope you find that helpful. We're going to move on to the other segments. We're going to show you how we're going to take blood, and I'm going to show you how I give the multi-min shot. So hope you find that part helpful.
We're just going to clip around the jugular, which is positioned between this muscle and the esophagus and bronchial area. And so I'm going to want to pick a spot where I think it's going to be most effective to be able to see that.
If you are new to drawing blood, this is a critical thing that you do, especially if you're doing it in the winter. It's really hard to find that vein when they're super hairy, and especially if you're new at doing this. So we highly recommend, if you're learning how to draw blood, which I recommend you do, there's no reason to pay a vet to do this. If you want to learn how to draw blood, you definitely want to shave. All right, so remember, this pocket between the esophagus and this muscle is right where that jugular sits. So the way to have it be evident is to capture it down here, and then it fills with blood. You can see it fill with blood right there. Yeah, that's it. Easy, burper. Gosh, she's got thick skin. Okay, so getting all the blood, coming back out, rubbing it down. There you go. So that's how to draw blood. I hope you find that helpful. Please do it yourself. The vet will charge you an arm and a leg, and it's this easy. We have other videos on all the courses that'll help you as well. So I hope you find that helpful. So this is the other part of the process. So we actually write Harry's name on here. And then these are the vials. If you get these from Sage Labs, and you can order them, and then they're vacuum sealed. So you just pull off the needle, and this is not. So you pull off the needle, and you'll watch it'll actually suck it up in there. So it actually compresses up in there. Then you got your sample, and then we're going to send those into Sage Laboratories. So again, what we're testing this dough for is CAE, CL, and then we're also testing for pregnancy, which I highly suggest you do. It's nice to know which does are actually pregnant. And then the last thing is we're going to give the multi-min shot. So on the multi-min, remember the way this is an intermuscular shot. Now with these big does, I'll give them about 1 3/4 mils. 1 3/4 to 1 1/2. She's almost a 190-pound doe. So on the smaller does, I'll just give them 1 mil. On my big wethers and my really big goats, I'll give them a full 2. And we give this shot about once a quarter. So you got to remember that skeletal structure sits right here. So to go into the meat of that muscle, this is all that meat of the muscle. So we're just going to go in at a 45-degree angle. And remember, this shot stings. So we're going to go ahead and have that be her last thing. And then we'll take her out and she'll adjust better, because right now that shot's kind of stinging. You can go this way, sweetie. There you go. That is our wintertime pregnant doe. That's our routine. Blood test, multi-min, drawing blood, and checking general body condition, make sure they're healthy. So hope you find that helpful.